This video is sponsored by Ground News. Stick around at the end of the video for more info, as well as a fun little sneak peek for a big upcoming video project that I have. Don't know why I'm doing this voice, but that's what we're doing now. I hate AI. Actually, I don't. I hate what is sold to us as artificial intelligence. Generative AI is touted as innovation, a means to refine, to optimize.
We are no longer just talking about AI innovation in the abstract. We are seeing real product making, deployment, and productivity gains.
But what is optimization when it sterilizes human expression? A battle has raged for the soul of Hollywood. Studios, now more like tech giants, push to strip art of its artists. Men like David Zaslav and Bob Iger don't care what art expresses, only that it sells, only that the numbers rise. But art isn't a product. It's a conversation, a shared experience, a reflection. Director Anish Chaganty's recent short film, I Hate AI, seeks to bridge this tension between regurgitation and genuine artistic conversation. His creative attempt to argue that machine learning can help make art. Meta funded the film to promote MovieGen, an AI model that uses text inputs to generate video and sound. The tool marks the text giant's bid to enter the film industry, because after all, if studios are behaving like tech companies, why shouldn't tech companies jump into the game? Chaganty was hired by the film studio Blumhouse, the studio behind movies like Megan, to make the short film through a deal between Meta and the studio to use MovieGen. The film opens with Chaganty sharing his fears about AI, set against images of Hollywood strikes.
From everything that I have been told, AI is going to hurt my industry. How could I possibly tell a story about why AI was good for us when all I could see from where I'm standing was bad?
But he never digs deep about that. His worries are abstract, quickly overshadowed by his more earnest curiosity. He recalls a message that he sent to his parents, wondering how he might have used this tool as a kid.
Little Anish. Who was that again?
Could machine learning have swapped clumsy costumes for slick visuals, a messy garage for a gleaming bank vault? Could it have smoothed out his homemade films that he made with his brothers? The question lingers. Could this tool have helped him dream bigger? It's a seductive idea, one Chaganty seems the perfect person to ponder. Chaganty's work is built on exploring the delicate bond between tech and humanity. His breakout short film Seed was shot entirely on Google Glass. What was sold initially as a tech demo became, in truth, an intimate story of culture and family. Using Google Glass, Chaganty filmed himself delivering pregnancy news from the US to India by hand. A human touch connecting time, distance, and family, all for something that could have been sent by an email. A human story told through a then new piece of technology. His later films evolved this idea. They were thrillers set entirely within digital screens, where characters pieced together missing loved ones' lives through digital fragments, discovering truths that they never knew.
I didn't know her. I didn't know my daughter.
For Chaganty, tech has always expanded human stories, not reduced them. So why couldn't generative machine learning, he argues, do the exact same? From the dawn of cinema, technology has driven stories forward, from the Lumiere brothers to A Trip to the Moon, from Metropolis to Star Wars, from Pixar to The Matrix. Each technological leap pushed imagination's boundaries, but at the heart of all of these digital marvels and spectacles was a human pulse. Someone with a burning need to connect, an intention that technology was helping to bring forth and express. The Matrix wasn't about bullet time. It was about Neo transcending an oppressive system by chasing the discomfort he felt in his soul, making him even able to stop bullets altogether. As my often collaborator Aranock explored in her own work, if most action movies reflect heterotemporality, Bullet Time, a groundbreaking feat at the moment that it was created, captures a queer perception of time. bullet time doesn't just bend time, it creates space for a different, more liberating temporal experience, one that imagines a world beyond the rigid confines of capitalist heteronormative rhythms. One that so many people, even beyond the queer and trans community, resonated with. They saw the movie not just for its technological masterpiece, but for what it made them feel. The Wachowskis used technology to voice what was, at that point in their lives, the ineffable within them. A pain in not being able to be themselves, anger at a world that constrained them, mingled with a hope and a vision of the power they knew we all could claim. While capitalists like Steve Jobs saw Pixar simply as a company making revolutionary technology that he could eventually sell off to Disney for profit,
The graphics were, years beyond anything I'd ever seen before. And he told me of his dream to make the first computer animated feature film. And I bought into that dream both sort of emotionally and financially.
we all fell in love with Pixar because its stories were about something that felt true to us.
Hey, Buzz! You're flying!
This isn't flying, this is falling with style.
Star Wars embodied rebellion against empire, while Metropolis captured a longing for revolution. Even the first films of trains or wild trips to the moon weren't just spectacles. They were the first steps of a new artistic medium, capturing the relentless spark of our deepest longing to see beyond the horizon. Every story was a filmmaker's attempt to express something deeply felt, a technology-enabled spark. Without that human spark, films become hollow spectacles, beautiful but empty. Technology helps us dream. It did not do it for us. Why can't machine learning be another tool to do the same? Those selling these tools lie that they are intelligence, that they analyze art in a way comparable to human inspiration, but it's not. It's mathematics without context, without passion, without the mess of living. Dreams come from seeing the world mixed with our own thoughts, concepts, and lived experiences. It's a magic of unexpected collisions. Generative art can't do that. It can't create something new, something that envisions the future. As a kid, connection to me felt distant. My thoughts lost in a fog of difference. Autistic, often misunderstood, and grappling with my body and gender, I struggled to express myself, even to myself. Filmmaking and creativity became my bridge. It wasn't about polish, it was about trying to make my soul laid bare. I started by making Doctor Who music videos, sharing my belief in the 10th Doctor and Rose's endless love. But in the doing, I learned editing's power to reshape feelings and add new context, even with pre-existing footage, all because of what I brought to that process. I also made Star Trek fan films, crappy little stick figure animations, but I made those animations with my friends' voices as the characters. And I found that the people who used to bully me wanted to take part. I even staged a rock concert for a film that I made in an empty auditorium with rock band gear. In doing so, I found ways to frame shots, direct live action, and most importantly, make friends. Even if none of them were very good actors.
What happened to you? You look so tired. You look like crap.
With each project, I sharpened my skills as a creator, finding my voice through film and creativity, and striving to do better. And as I grew in that process, so did my relationships. My classmates began to see me, drawn to the joy that I had creating new things. By the end of my high school years, I wasn't bullied at all. I was actually just friends with all of them, and often asked to help with creative projects in class. I was seen, my heart heard. My dream of being understood made reality. That is the joy of an artist. to share a feeling so vivid, so real inside of you that you want others to feel the ecstasy of it too. It's about making the ineffable tangible together. It's about connection, knowing that you're not alone and realizing that others can dream the same dream as you. In creating, I found myself, and in turn, I found others. Each work that you make as an artist is another chance to connect, to grow, to learn about yourself and the ones that you reach for. We crave human connection in art, not just in the stories we watch, but in their making. Why do we celebrate Tom Cruise's real stunts in Mission Impossible, or constantly retell the story of Viggo Mortensen breaking his foot in Lord of the Rings? Why do we constantly watch scrappy filmmakers defying odds on DVD extras, or go to conventions to hear creators tell us stories of what they went through? It's because we long for the passion, the sweat, the story of creation itself. We want to hear about friendships formed, challenges overcome, and discoveries made. A process made richer than even dreams could have imagined. These generative art tools aren't being made in hopes of enabling that process. They're being done to erase it, to cut off our chance to learn how to express ourselves. Tech bros claim that they're making art, but all they've done is type prompts that make an average of works that have come before, filled with errors. They crave the end result without the act of creation, inputting words, then calling it done. It's a perversion of creation without the soul of making. Instead, we are told to curl up inside ourselves, never reaching, never trying to know who we or others are. But this act of birthing new realities is messy, born of personal history, limited resources, and wild, reckless hope. Chaganty's childhood footage of a retail-bought costume is more evocative than any regurgitated algorithm-generated alien because it was unique. It revealed time and place and budget and skill. It told a story, not just of an alien invasion, but of a kid who dreamed of making films with whatever he had, creating worlds out of his own backyard. Not an amalgamation of all the aliens who had come before, distilled into something perfectly generic. His childhood films showed us the real human that tried to make art, not some empty idea I've seen 1 billion times before. Every film, every work of art is the act of performing an idea, a feeling, as if it were a reality. Yet in our struggle to enact the impossible, we often stumble upon the unexpected. Be it the broken shark animatronic in Jaws leading to an accidental heightening of the film's suspense, or Rutger Hauer improvising one of my favorite lines in cinema.
All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain.
Each artist steps into a project not just to fulfill a vision, but to let it evolve, making it greater than its initial impetus by making it real, even if only for a moment. I wonder, if you'd had this tool as a kid, would you have found an alien costume or learned to make one? Would you have figured out how to turn a room into a bank vault, or would you have just pressed a button? Would he have learned the power of editing, or simply fed scenes to a tool to do it for him, and then filmed alone in a silent room by himself? I wonder if all of these moments would have been lost, like tears in rain, if Chaganty could have simply been able to generate them all with the push of a button. But his own human heart betrays his real joy. When Chaganty released I Hate AI, he proudly shared that his mom had saved and digitized all of his childhood films for him. Chaganty treasured the human heart and connection in the process used to create his film, not the actual generative AI tool that helped him make it, because it was done by and with someone he loved and who loved him.
My mom loves movies. When I was a kid, she would pull me and my brother out of class before school even ended so we could be first in line for a new movie at the theater. In a lot of ways, she's why I want to make movies.
Chaganty's footage, and even the way he made I Hate AI, shows us the human who tried to make it. Meta's AI tool plans to replace it. That it will allow the artists to make by themselves and for people to engage with art by themselves. It's isolating us from our ability to experience art together, both in the making of it and in the experience of it. Yet we humans long to experience art together. Why do you think TV shows still sometimes use laugh tracks? It's because even when we're alone, we like to imagine that we're watching with other people. When I really think about it, I find nothing sadder than a laugh track. And Meta wants to extend this even further by pushing the audience and the creator away even further, and the creator from their own art.
The next best thing is allowing people to basically create these artifacts, right? It's an agent, but it's you train it to kind of on your material to represent you in the way that you want. I think it's a very kind of creative endeavor, almost like a piece of art or content that you're putting out there.
But we humans make these messy visions because we love the process of making with others. Making my own movie, Identities, was a revelation. Working with a mostly queer crew felt like a collective exhale, a culmination of so much of my life. It wasn't just that we were making my script, my story that we were trying to put on screen. It was a mosaic of shared passion. I remember our first Zoom call after we'd hired all our department heads, and I saw all the artists who we'd hired brought together for the first time. And it hit me then that my role as director was to let their art, their humanity, shine on screen. We created not just a film, but a glimpse of a utopian future, not on camera, but behind the scenes, weaving all of our diverse visions into a shared, beautiful idea. We made a world built on connection and creation, not for power or money or gain, but because it was something joyful. It didn't last. It never does, but we proved it could exist. We proved that a world where we make something greater than ourselves, beyond the desire for more, can happen. It's a world greater than I ever imagined by myself, writing my script of an idea I had in my mind alone in a room. Art is the tool of the hurting, a desperate reach to feel less alone, but it's also a dream of a world where we belong. And then, as if by magic, that world is created in microcosm through the act of making, a fleeting glimpse of a possible future, proof that it can be real.
But like, even for us, we're making it for the first time, and it's like a journey of discovery. But the reward of that was that the only way for this movie was to succeed was that every single person who worked on this film had to contribute something new to it.
Chaganty dreamed of being a filmmaker. It was a truth deep in his heart. And years later, it has become a reality because he dared to dream it. Imagination becomes truth. If he had grown up with only the tools to make the vision of art currently being sold to us, that he could have made all of this with just the press of a button, I wonder if he would have ever even imagined it at all. I learned to act in high school plays and community theater, but the moment that defined me most was when I got to play a woman on stage, revealing a hidden truth to my entire hometown, even if they didn't know it then. It was me giving them a glimpse of a dream that I had held in my mind, one that I would one day make become my everyday reality, a reality I only knew was possible because I had first lived it through art. To create a world in the now through our work together that we had only imagined in our dreams. That is the human connection we crave. creating realities beyond time, beyond our oppressive now. But these generative tools rip the artist from the act of making, destroying the worlds made in the act of creation, both on screen and behind the scenes. The same day that I wrote this, Disney announced a so-called AI initiative to replace special effects artists, an industry that's already been gutted by overwork, slash pay, and relentless undercutting. Just look at the slop CGI that Marvel churns out, the result of brutal conditions forced upon VFX artists. Generative art only will amplify that destruction. Visual effects work is art. Look at Blade Runner 2049, a work that had VFX crafted by hands that cared, by artists who poured their souls into bringing another artist's ideas to life. But capitalists like Elon Musk, who steal these images to sell products, or Bob Iger, who crushes artist jobs without a second thought, see none of that. To them, art is a product to be processed, mashed into a bland paste for uninspired, generic slop to lull the masses to sleep, to never let us introspect. The artists who've endured brutal hours, impossible deadlines, and low pay are now being replaced by algorithmic junk, shapeless amalgamations of everything and new to nothing. There is no vision, no intent, no passion, no one little spark of inspiration. Just prompts typed into a machine. Disney claims its new AI initiative will create jobs, and I'm sure that's true. But they'll be jobs for what they want. Soulless drones pressing buttons, not creators at the heart of creation. They envision a writer, alone editing words spit out by a machine trained on all the scripts that have come before, instead of engaging in the dance of ideas with other writers in a room. They want voice actors' instruments stolen and reused after only a single recording session. They hope to see animation reduced to regurgitation. They see films starring dead actors morosely resurrected by CGI, using performances built from amalgamated digital scraps of past roles rather than thoughtfully crafted based on years of experience for the story that they are in. And they want young actors just starting out to be scanned once and have their echoes used forever. This is what they want for all of us, lying to us that we are creating when we only can constantly regurgitate their pre-selected visions. To their eyes, livelihoods based on expressing oneself are replaced by the cold, error-prone predictability of algorithms stitching together past inspirations, stripped of context and meaning. Ghosts haunting spaces meant for the living. But real human creativity is wild. It's a child pretending she created a rock concert in an empty auditorium with rock band instruments, or a backyard becoming a wild apocalypse. It's ridiculous, cringy, and wonderful, rooted in our biggest fears, hurts, and hopes. But as we grow older, our dreams sometimes shrink, whittled down by a culture that constantly whispers in our ear, "It's lie," that the world is made of limitations and lines, by borders, boxes, and definitions. Yet dreams, by their nature, are meant to shatter those walls, to stretch the confines of what is, and into the realm of what could be. That is art's true power. I don't believe that ethically trained generative machine learning is inherently anathema to creativity. It could blend with artistic process, helping to outline ideas or shape assets that are later built upon by human hands. And I believe that this vision of the future is what Chaganty is earnestly hoping for. But in a world where connection is just another product, ethical integration is a mirage. These tools are not about assisting creation, it's about reducing it, despite what I Hate AI claims to champion. Because the film I Hate AI can only gloss over our fears of the way generative art is being used today, unable to actually give voice to them, restrained as it is by Meta's leash. It actively ignores the lost jobs, shoddy aesthetics, extravagantly wasteful energy usage, and plagiarism, serving not as a critique, but as a commercial. It's art, bound and gagged, soothing the very anxieties that it should confront. Blumhouse hired Chaganty to make propaganda for a tech giant that is trying to kill the very soul of the medium Chaganty and I love. The film was commissioned by the powerful to lull the powerless, and Chaganty should be ashamed for playing just another one of their tools. Generative art tools like MovieGen don't enhance creativity, it's a tool intended to erase it. It strips films of humanity, often directly, mostly targeting roles held by marginalized artists. Generative art peddlers, like Adobe's VP of Generative AI, Alexandru Costin, openly hint at plans to gatekeep creativity itself unless we accept their lie that generative art is inevitable. The goal of generative art is to strip away our ability to learn to be artists, and it's no anomaly. It's just another tool for those without imagination to try to kill our own. It's their way to extend their vision of a world where dreams have been gutted for the sake of control. What they want isn't art, it's compliance. They replace artists with cogs, strip away the beauty of creation, and call it progress. Closing access not just to resources, but to our very ability to imagine a world beyond their control. Because they already have their utopia already. They are why Hollywood films are mostly based on IPs, why artists are desperately trying to scrub their art from Twitter after Musk forced every user to have their art be used to train his own tools, why endless uninspired remakes litter Hollywood and the video game industry. It's why shows are canceled after a single season, why series vanish from streaming or never see release for tax breaks, and why stories with marginalized voices face relentless scrutiny while equally flawed status quo narratives continue to earn praise. Why so many stories of marginalized people are stamped out by studios, replaced with generic themes emphasizing heteronormative family and giant CGI slop battles meant to distract us, that speak to nothing any of us are actually feeling. The powerful are trying to replace the real, urgent cry of all art. The desperate, longing scream of all of us to find the universal in the specific. To tell the stories of the overlooked or the marginalized or the unheard. The undying need to express the ineffable feelings in those who hurt, and in doing so, discover empathy that transcends identity, time, and distance. To continually rediscover what we always forget, that we are not alone, for we only exist in connection. We are only human if we are also humanity. The vision for generative machine learning today is a challenge to dreams. It is designed to flatten, to mirror existing biases, to perpetuate a status quo. But I have hope. This is not the first time art has been threatened by tech-fueled greed. It has happened many times before. Hollywood itself was born out of a rebellion against capitalist Thomas Edison's monopoly on filmmaking on the East Coast of the United States. So many women, queer people, and people of color moved to Los Angeles to create Hollywood, before it eventually became a system reflective of the status quo yet again, consolidating power because it exists in a world, a system meant to only empathize with the powerful. But art always survives in the heart of those of us who hurt, who hope, who dream. As long as we exist, art will always be there. We dreamed of new worlds beyond our oppression before, and we can do it again. But to win, we must see the real war. That the battle is over our ability to dream. Chaganty ends his film with a cosmic, algorithm-made sci-fi sky replacing his childhood skyline, an attempt to show machine learning's expanding dreams.
Maybe I'd have just dreamed a little bigger.
But what he doesn't see is that this tool is trying to teach that child to never reach for that sky. When I look at this sky, I revel in its vast gradations of color. I hiked here to get this shot to show it to you what I had to do to make this work of art. I don't see emptiness, the limitations of what I can see, but the infinite possibilities of what might be. The sky remains vast, its stories unwritten, waiting for those willing to look beyond what can be generated. It waits for those of us who are still bold enough to dream bigger, who reach together to fill it with meaning. I wouldn't replace this sky with anything else. Chaganty sees generative art expanding his childhood dreams. I see it shrinking them. Meta wants to replace our skies with soulless product, like when they claimed AI-generated northern lights were as real as seeing them for yourself. Dreams become hollow, echoes of memories dreamt by someone else years ago and sold by those without imagination. I don't hate AI. I hate the uninspired, turning our skies into empty echoes.
I like the paint the sky with rainbows idea.
Just remind people what a free mind can do.
I forgot. It's easy to forget.
He makes it easy.
That he does.
Something you should think about.
Hey, so as we've been talking about, art and our ability to have lenses through which to interpret the world around us are all under attack right now. Meta in particular's relentless push to reshape artistic intent goes beyond just controlling creativity. It's about controlling the narrative, shaping how we see, feel, and think about the world through art. But that's a problem not just in art, but also in our news landscape. And so in a media landscape where every headline seems designed to push a specific agenda, how do we know what's real? Well, while that is not something that I can fully answer here, there are some really great tools to help you do that. And that is where today's sponsor, Ground News, comes in. Ground News is a website and app on a mission to help readers understand the biases of different news outlets that you may encounter. Every story comes with a quick visual breakdown of the political biases, factuality, and ownership of the source's reporting, all backed by ratings from 3 independent news monitoring organizations. Focusing in on Meta, let's take a look at a recent news story around the fact that the Supreme Court decided to let a class action suit around Meta proceed. This case stems from way back with the Cambridge Analytica scandal, where Meta itself failed to disclose the risks of user data being exploited. And there have been countless outlets covering the story, and it can feel impossible to figure out which information is reliable, let alone how different news sources are shaping their narrative around it. And this is where Ground News, I think, really shines. For example, Ground News reveals that over 70 news sources are covering the Meta lawsuit, with over 10 outlets each from the left, center, and the right. And each one frames the story slightly differently, and Ground News helps you see what they're saying. Right-leaning outlets like Epoch Times, which I've actually covered here before on this channel, subtly use framing to question the entire legitimacy of the lawsuit. Meanwhile, left-leaning outlets are emphasizing Meta's ongoing privacy failures and ties to political manipulation. And with Ground News, you can see all of these perspectives laid out side by side, helping you spot biases, compare narratives, and decide for yourself what is going on. And Ground News doesn't just stop there. It gives you tools to go deeper. One standout feature is the blind spot feature, which lets you uncover stories that are disproportionately covered by one side of the political spectrum. And I actually really love this tool because it allows you to spot when a story has become a galvanizing tool of right-wing propaganda. Personally, I use Ground News as a great starting place for a lot of my research when I do videos on discussing how stories have been framed by right-wing outlets. And as the media landscape fractures further as we head into dear God, 2025, tools like this will only get more necessary. Ground News cuts through the noise and helps you stay informed, and right now they're offering an incredible deal, which is 50% off their Vantage subscription for Black Friday, which is running from November 22nd to December 6th. So don't wait, head to the URL on screen or click the link in the description to get started. And I want to thank Ground News for making this video possible and helping me with my own research. But with all that said, before we go, I just wanted to give you all that quick sneak peek that I promised at the beginning of the video, as well as a quick personal update. Basically, frankly, as I'm sure it's been for a lot of you, it's been kind of a lot. This video was written before November and the fallout of the recent election here in the United States. And frankly, it's been really chilling for really every trans person. But yes, it's definitely been hitting me and my fiance really hard. And it's been exacerbated by the fact that both my fiance and I, alongside our 3 lovely kitties, are downsizing and moving to a new home at the end of December, to a place that's going to better fit our budget. And then not to mention, on top of that, we're currently trying to figure out how to do something joyful in the midst of all this, in planning our hopefully fun, nerdy, queer wedding, which, given everything, is kind of a big question mark at the moment. So I just wanted to say that all of your support, whether it's through Patreon, Nebula, or simply liking, subscribing, or sharing this video, really does mean a lot at this moment. There is a possibility, given the administration coming in, that it's going to be a lot harder to even just be visible as a trans person, especially on platforms like this. So I'm usually very bad at this, but I just want to emphasize that your support on places like Patreon, where you can get your name in videos in the credits and gain early access to upcoming releases and stuff like that, really, really means a lot at the moment. I do have some big projects in the works. Here's that sneak peek that I promised for a video that I'm going to be hopefully releasing in January. If you can tell, it's going to be a kind of a fun one, so don't spoil it for anybody who didn't stick around all the way to the end. You're the special ones, so enjoy yourselves. But I'm hoping that while I am going to be still talking about shitty topics, that I can hopefully make some hopeful, fun videos alongside them, because I think we're going to need that more than ever. And it really means a lot if you're able to support me and my fiance both creatively and financially at the moment. But with all that said, regardless of whatever you do to support or not, thank you for being here, for supporting me, for being amazing and wonderful on your own terms, and for believing in me and this channel during all this. It truly does mean the world. But until next time, I hope y'all live long and prosper, my friends. Thank you so much to all of my patrons who support me. I adore you and love you all. And an extra special thank you to Joe Herman Holt, Carrie Ellen Foss, Jade Stark, Veronica Fox, Nick Anderson, Barbie Ann Rounds, Sarah Montgomery, Jack McCallan, Stephen Kleinard, Jazz Miss, Daniel Prone, Randy Thompson, Christian Hurst, Samuel Howard, Quite Barish, Rose Conley, Auntie Kate, 808, Atheist Snail, Tara Rose, Lily Blanley, Vincent Ellington, Amada Kaiba, Dark Archon, Miranda Ketia, Matt Chung, Alex Miller, Zane Schussler, Super Desi, Todd Verling, Joseph Dewey, Sammy Joe Retro, Meta Whisper, Iron, Spooky Heather, Sylvia, Lily Gray, Chris Showers, James Krivda, Dominic Noble, Angela Hendricks, Shep Alderson, David Dema, Michael Wolnitz, Nathan Fraughton, Farengito, C. Dazer, Ryan Hunter, Kevin Frotag, Epsilon's Greater Than, Flyan Kata, Valerie Blackbird, Carry On Blue, Craig and David, John Weatherby, Teague Wilson, Stephen Richardson, W. Randy Edie, Casual Observer, Britzkrieg, K. Liss, Samaro, Gudmundur Stephenson, apologies if I got that wrong, Igman Marie, Patricia Cromptick, James Knott, Kurt Mullen, Jess Johnson, Sean Sullivan, Prince of Void, Rosalind Bennett, Joanne the Wretchwitch, Verdix Kai, Hope Jason Tiliana, Stephen Chapman, Grumpy Dragon 75, Penile Sparing Vaginoplasty, Melody and Winter's Good, Damon Rice, Sasha M, Belinda Walters, Julian Rigel, Elton Tivy, Sarah Leslie Hutchkins, Scott Russell, Jocelyn Ether 4, Celestial Dawn, Ketsia Garrett Smithson, Cassie McDonald, Laura Demereau, Tyler Edwards, Luna, Jordy Lucero, Tori Perez, Nyan Fan, Sarah Bystam, Carrie the Neuro Turtle, Carolyn Clark, Lev Goodwin, Crit Fax, White Lion, Corey and Vale Honkanen, Sean Piper, Mark H. Williams, author, it's Craig Lowe, Troy Stull, Daihat Shi, Michael Weber, Maximilian Marks, Myra G, Henry Pierce, Tom Chi 311, and Julia Werner. Love you all. Mwah.